A little girl was found writhing in pain on a kitchen floor, alone, helpless, and on the brink of death. But the real shock came when the police dog entered the room, and his reaction left everyone stunned, revealing a danger no one had expected. The house stood eerily quiet, nestled at the end of a forgotten street. The windows were clouded with grime, and the front door hung loosely on its hinges, battered by time and neglect. Inside, the kitchen was a scene of desolation, dirty floors, covered in broken tiles, peeling wallpaper, and an old stove with rusted edges. The air was heavy with the smell of decay, the silence almost suffocating. In the corner of the room, a little girl sat huddled on the cold, cracked floor. Her small frame was shaking, her clothes torn and stained with dirt, her face pale with fear. Her eyes were wide with panic, glistening with tears that hadn't yet fallen. She clutched her stomach, a faint groan escaping her lips as the pain worsened. Her body was covered in bruises, a sign of the torment she had been through. She didn't speak, didn't move, but her eyes darted nervously to the door, as if hoping for a savior. The crunch of snow beneath boots echoed from outside, followed by the sound of a door creaking open. Officer Ryan, his expression stern, stepped into the room, his hand resting lightly on the collar of his K9 partner, Duke, a trained German shepherd. The dog immediately perked up, sniffing the air with keen interest, his gaze fixed on the girl on the floor. Something wasn't right. Officer Ryan's boots clicked on the broken tiles as he entered the room, his eyes scanning the space, taking in every detail of the abandoned kitchen. He couldn't help but feel the weight of the atmosphere, the stillness. In the air, the faded echoes of something long forgotten. His heart sank when he saw the girl huddled on the floor, her small body trembling in the dim light. She looked lost, like a fragile doll abandoned in a forgotten corner. "Hey, kid," Officer Ryan called softly, kneeling a few feet away from her. His voice was calm, but the concern in his eyes was clear. The dog, Duke, stood beside him, his ears pricked forward, eyes locked onto the girl with an intensity that sent a chill down Ryan's spine. The girl didn't respond at first. She only curled tighter, her small hands clutching her stomach in agony. Ryan's heart broke as he reached out, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. She flinched at his touch, but then her eyes met his, wide, full of fear and pain. Her lips trembled as she whispered, "Please, help me." Duke's behavior, however, was unlike anything Ryan had seen before. The dog didn't just stand still. He began pacing back and forth, his nose twitching as he sniffed the air, then looked directly at the girl. Something in the air, something in her scent, had triggered Duke's instincts. Ryan noticed the shift in Duke's demeanor. This was more than just a frightened child. Something was wrong, and the dog knew it. His body was tense, his muscles coiled, and his nose twitched as he circled the girl. Officer Ryan stood frozen, watching his K9 partner's every move. The dog wasn't acting like he usually did during routine searches. This wasn't just a matter of sniffing for drugs or explosives. Duke's focus was on the girl, his eyes locked onto her, as if he was trying to tell Ryan something. Ryan knelt down beside the girl, his voice soft but insistent. "Hey, it's okay, kid. Can you tell me what's going on?" The girl's eyes flitted between Ryan and the dog, her chest heaving with shallow breaths. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Instead, she winced in pain, clutching her stomach again. The dog continued pacing, growing more restless. Duke's sharp eyes never left the girl, and suddenly he let out a low growl, a sound that sent a wave of unease through Ryan's chest. This wasn't the usual alert bark Duke would give if he sensed danger. This was something deeper, more instinctual. Duke was trying to communicate, his instincts telling him that there was something terribly wrong with the girl. Ryan watched. The dog's eyes, now filled with an almost human-like understanding. Duke stopped pacing and sat down in front of the girl, his gaze steady, watching her every move. He sniffed the air again, then turned his head to Ryan with a soft whine, as if pleading for him to do something. The officer's pulse quickened. Whatever Duke had sensed, it was beyond anything he had imagined. There was a deeper threat here, something that went beyond the girl's pain. And time was running out. Ryan's hands trembled slightly as he placed his fingers on the girl's wrist, searching for a pulse. Her skin felt cold and clammy, a stark contrast to the warmth of the room. Her breathing was shallow, each exhale ragged and uneven, as though every breath was an effort. Panic bubbled up inside him as he realized that her condition was much worse than he had first thought. This wasn't just a frightened child in pain. There was something more, something dangerous. "Stay with me, kid," Ryan murmured, trying to keep his voice steady. He gently pulled her into a sitting position, supporting her trembling body. The girl's eyes fluttered, her gaze unfocused, and Ryan could see the terror in her expression. She was fighting to stay conscious, but the pain was too much. Another wave of agony washed over her, and she gasped, clutching her stomach tighter, her face contorting with distress. Duke, who had been quietly observing the entire time, stepped forward. His nostrils flared, and he pressed his snout gently against the girl's side, as if trying to comfort her. His low whine filled the room, and his eyes, normally calm and determined, were filled with concern. It was as though the dog understood the gravity of the situation in a way Ryan couldn't yet fully comprehend. That Ryan's heart raced. The girl wasn't just in pain, there was something internally wrong. Something that even Duke, with all his training, had recognized. Ryan knew it was time to act. He quickly reached for his radio, his voice urgent. "I need an ambulance now? She's in serious condition." Every second counted. The sound of sirens grew louder as the paramedics finally arrived, pushing through the door with a flurry of urgency. The lead medic, a tall woman with a calm but intense demeanor, knelt beside the girl. "What's the situation?" she asked, her voice steady despite the rising tension in the room. Ryan didn't hesitate. "She's in serious pain, possibly internal injuries. Something's wrong, but I'm not sure what. We need to move quickly." The paramedic immediately began assessing the girl's condition. She checked her pulse, the girl's face contorting with every touch. Her pulses erratic and her breathing shallow. The medic muttered to her team, "We need to get her to the hospital now." As the medic worked, Ryan kept his eyes on Duke. The dog had not moved an inch, still watching over the girl with that unsettling, unblinking gaze. Duke's instincts were sharper than ever, and Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that the dog knew something they didn't. The girl's breathing grew more ragged, her body trembling uncontrollably. Ryan's heart thudded in his chest as he helped the medics lift her onto a stretcher. "Stay with us, kid," he whispered, brushing a loose strand of hair from her forehead. "Help's on the way." With Duke leading the way, the paramedics rushed the girl toward the waiting ambulance. Ryan kept close behind, his mind racing. Every second counted. Ryan stayed close, his eyes locked on the vehicle, his heart pounding in his chest. Duke, his canine partner, stood at attention by Ryan's side, ears perked, tail low and tense. The dog had been unusually quiet, but Ryan could feel the weight of the moment. This was more than just another call. Something was different, something that couldn't be ignored. The team of medics was doing their best, but every second felt like a lifetime. Ryan's mind kept going back to Duke, how the dog had sensed something wasn't right when no one else did. The dog's instincts had saved them valuable time. If Duke hadn't reacted the way he did, the girl might not have made it to the hospital in time. Hours seemed to stretch on as Ryan paced outside the hospital, his thoughts a blur. He glanced at Duke, who sat beside him, unusually still. It was as if both of them were waiting for the same thing, news of the girl's condition. The air was thick with anticipation. The doctor approached, his expression unreadable. Ryan's stomach clenched. But then, the doctor smiled, a small but reassuring gesture. "She made it," he said. "Both mother and baby are stable." Ryan exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Duke's tail gave a slight wag. They had done it. They had saved her. The weight of the day's events hung heavily in the air, but there was a sense of relief now, a glimmer of hope in the midst of everything. The girl had survived. She was safe. And Duke, his loyal canine partner, had made all the difference. Without the dog's instincts, they might have been too late. Ryan's fingers gently brushed Duke's fur, his heart swelling with gratitude. "You did good, buddy," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. It wasn't just the girl's life they had saved that day. It was a reminder of the bond between humans and their dogs, a bond that went far beyond words. A nurse approached, holding a small note in her hands. She handed it to Ryan, and he opened it to find a simple message scrawled in the girl's handwriting. Tell the dog, he's my angel. Ryan smiled, wiping away a tear. I think he already knows.